7 days at Sunny Dune. Chapter 4, November 18th. Promises and Lies. I should have known. Sunset sighed. The look on her face was one of Dear, it's just a jacket, It looked good on you, Betty told her, even though it was likely a statement Sunset didn't want to hear. The entertained wasn't too happy to hear that her stolen by her science set fire in front of the school the following Monday morning. That in itself was tainted Verity's sensitive nose a half a day later. A sign it would be lingering for a while. Something horrific. It was noticed that the jacket had been doused. Ugh. Verity shuddered in revulsion at the second thought. Cat opalescence was one thing, but have it smeared all over the garment? Small wonder that she, Bonbon, and a few of her other students had lost their breakfast on the front lawn that day. But it had been the note, written in the piece de resistance. Nonetheless, tasteless and rude manifesto clearly indicated what Sunset's mother could do to herself. Sunset's lineage and various other insults. It's more on behalf of a friend, and as much as the others in her circle. But none too surprisingly, the school had reacted in their usual manner. Talked to all classes session, and the promised that unless student responsible for the act came forward, there'd be. Of course, the students involved never stepped forward. Celestia reacted according to Wonderland Dance would be cancelled as a result. For everyone else. Jacket was the first thing I bought on this world, Sunset told her. I really liked it. But Micah look, quite frankly, is a bit gauche and not at all your style, the fashionista told her. Truth be told, I always felt it looked like you was screaming. It's more that looks better on you, really. Thanks. Sunset smiled widely, then added, it's probably true from a technical standpoint. Sunset, dear, you can't possibly. No, Verity, you misunderstand. What I'm saying is that my species probably could do half of the stuff that the letter says. Built. Plus with magic, well, you really think? Verity asked. A little. It cycles a little bit. I got a trip. Or heavy says Twilight couldn't figure out how for a second before she asked Rarity. Can you lock the door real quick? Certainly, Rarity said, figuring Sunset was about to show her something. She sat back in the chair once more. Sunset put her palm out, her hand, giving Rarity a slight startle and a soft gasp of awe. A second later, disappeared in Sunset's true form. This is what I really look like, the bedridden teen told her friend. You really are a unicorn, Rarity asked. I thought you were being facetious that one day. Thought to those hybrids, I thought you might have been descended from an equine species, just like we humans are from primates, but I never actually imagined. Now you know how I feel when I got here, Sunset laughed. Depends on her earlier reaction years ago. A sapient species? Impossible! Why are you sharing this with me? Because, well, think of it as an apology. I know I ruined the spring fling dance for you back in April, because I called you a fat cow. Truth is, I'm probably more like a cow than you'll ever be, Rarity. You know the words I said back then. It's all in the past now, Sunset. Besides, we're friends now, and we can be miserable together, considering that Fluttershy probably looks better than all of us. Rarity said, melancholy smile. Smile. Does she have any idea how drop-dead gorgeous she looks? Sunset asked. Well, I know that Applejack's brother, Macintosh, said if it wasn't for the fact that he's been dating his girlfriend since their Fluttershy out, personally, I think he's very attracted to her. But it's too much of a gentleman to cheat on his girlfriend, since they are very good together. Yeah, I'll have to admit, Mac's easy on the eyes, Sunset agreed. Oh, really, last century, but I guess having a young man around is okay. So I am a woman in my prime, you know. Besides, it's kind of funny. There's a weird theory I read once about how human girls are so constantly attracted to horses in general. But maybe because they're genetic ancestors, on the other hand, let's think there's a lot of things I did in the past I wish I could take back. But what's done is done. Suddenly, there was a knock. Cancel the spell. Verity unlocked the door. And as she did, both Twilight and Octavia stood there, in their school uniforms. Oh, hello, Rarity. What are you doing here? Octavia leaned against the door jam and grinned. We interrupt any moments of the young love, she asked as she folded her arms. Sunset replied casually, considering that you, me, and Twilight have already slept together. Rarity looked at her oddly. The flame girl added with a grin. Platonically, of course. Oh! A second later, the fashionista continued. Well, as for me, I thought I'd come by and drop Sunset's homework off. And you'll have to excuse me. Since I thought I would see the wound, and I was concerned your little brother might walk in accidentally. Unfortunately, Spike does have a bad habit of wandering in where he's not wanted, Twilight admitted. But I love the little guy all the same. Anyway, I popped in to say that since my parents and Tabbies are headed out to the opera tonight, we were going to make dinner. Grilled cheese sandwiches and soup okay with you, Sonny? Yeah, Steve nodded. I'm not sure I could keep down anything heavy right now anyway. Oh, you're welcome to stay for dinner as well if you like, Rarity, Twilight offered. She shook her head, starting. Thanks, but no, I have to pick up my sister from her singing practice. And I got to head for my shift today, but I sincerely appreciate the thought. Rarity, Sunset said from her bed, thank you for everything. I mean that. Sunset, dear, you should know by now. That's what friends are for. Rarity said, bending over once more to give her friend another hug. Besides, after today, I dare say now we're closer than we've ever been before. That we are, Sunset agreed. That we are. Seated in a booth at a Denny's just outside Pineville, just off the interstate, a very agitated young man with blue hair, wearing a U.S. Navy Blue Angels sweatshirt, sat next to a rainbow-haired girl wearing a Mickey Mouse hoodie, currently sipping from a strawberry milkshake and occasionally looking out the window. The guy finished off his Coke and groaned. Ugh. Look, Rainbow, not that I'd mind taking you places, Soren told her, but could you explain to me why I had to drive you all the way out to Ponyville? Fuck the 120-mile round trip. Avon kissed on the cheek. Soren, I really appreciate this, okay? I mean it. Aside from my friends, you and Spitfire are the only ones I can trust, and this is important. Yeah, well, you owe me a date for this one, he told her. Fine. Movies this weekend, okay? My treat. Works for me. So who are we again? Rainbow! The voice called out in stereo, and two very hot teens, the kind you usually found on the barely 18 websites that Soren's friends usually occasionally looked at. Not that he would know where they were, embarrassed his sometimes girlfriend. The slight irreverent thought ran through his mind, and he buried his fist in his face shortly. Hey, Cloudy, Flitz, Rainbow says. The twins plopped down next to her. It was then that Soren noticed that as hot as they looked, they were dressed somewhat conservatively. Hell, considering that Ponyville was a farming community 112 miles east of Camelot, that shouldn't have been too absurd. Cloudy, Flitz, this is my sort of boyfriend, Soren. He plays basketball for our high school varsity team. Soren, this is Cloud Chaser Flitter, a couple of girls I went to school with before I moved to Camelot. Yeah, we were all living in Cloudsdale way back then, Blair said. She had the cutest voice ever. Before she continued with, but in our case, our dad got a job here in Plainville as a town vet, so we moved to our grandparents' house rounds, and, well, here we are. Yeah, the girls run for Plainfield's track team. They're fast as lightning, the rainbow-haired athlete said. Cloud Chaser shuddered. Oh, Rainbow, do me a favor and don't remind me of that skank. I can't believe that she even said that shit. Someone want to fill me in what's going on? Soren asked. Well, you may have heard a rumor about us going around your school, Claire said, nervously adjusting her hair bow. Soren rolled his eyes. It's about you two? When the twins died, the blue-haired youth rolled his eyes. Sorry to hear that. All week I've been hearing some of the guys just invent the most outrageous crap about it. This seems to get worse and worse. Hell, Garble was just saying at practice this morning that his girlfriend, Gilda, wrapped you two up as a gift for him while he was on a rag, and you two were pretty cheap. Oh, God, we're going to be ruined, Cloud Chaser said, slumping her, burying her face in her hands as she started to cry. Inside, embracing Bo, you gotta do something, Claire said. This is gonna be all fun and jokes over in Camelot and Cloudsdale, but a small town like Ponyville? Shit. These at times. I can only imagine the shit we'll be in if our parents hear about this. No, Cloud Chaser moaned. I'm working on it, girls. You have my word, Rainbow said. Hey, I really have no idea what's going on. Or I can, Sauron. Well, Cloud Chaser. Hey, Cloudy. Anything for an old pal. You know that, Rainbow said before a thought came to her. Remind you about somebody? Yeah, you meant to let me dust, didn't you? The girl with the sky bobbed hairstyle replied. Rainbow Dash shook her head, light went on Cloud Chaser's spine. You know, this didn't start that long after we were hit up by her. Really? Rainbow said, giving her friend a little look. Yeah, meet last month, and when she came up to us and started looking at us like we were that proposal. Nor I wanted to hear that crap. So we bet her that we could outspit Dash. Then she goes on about being Olympic material, and we must really wanted to bet her and all that jazz. Yeah, sounds like lightning, all right, Rainbow muttered. Girl's got an ego on her the size of a city block. Claire grinned. Smoked her. Olympic material, my ass. I was easily a half a second of her, but Cloudy was even faster. She barely missed making the state record. Another girl for Goldwire was behind us, and Miss Gold Medal was a solid fourth. Oh, she was not happy. A thought crossed Soren's face.
Is it possible then she spread the rumors just to get back at you two?
I had to wonder if that's what happened, Claire replied. Great. She's a creep and a sore loser.
Well, I'll put a stop to any of the guys trying anything, Soren assured them. There might be a few, but I'll do everything I can.
And I think it's time I had a personal chat with a certain individual next time I see her, Rainbow said, a wicked grin coming over her face as she smashed a fist into her palm. Later that night, Sunset was gingerly changing into pajamas when there was a knock on the door. Yeah, come in, she said, figuring it was one of the girls coming by to check on her. Soon enough, it was Tavi. Oh, hey. Didn't know you were staying overnight, Tavi. Yeah, my mom's been dying to see the opera since it was in town. And I'm guessing your parents and mine are. The raven-haired girl shook her head. Listen to me. You've only been here in a month, and I've gotten so used to you being here, I accidentally referred to Uncle Knight and Aunt Febby as your parents. Well, they really do think well of you. The smile on Sensei's face fell. Yeah. The look on Tavi's face was one of bewilderment. I hope I didn't see anything wrong. No, it's not you, it's me. Sunset said in her manner. They hinted that she wanted to talk. Octavia immediately sat down and listened. Tavi, it's just... She sighed, shaking her head. Do you know the real reason I went back there? I didn't tell Shiny the whole story. I hope you didn't lie to him, Octavia interjected. But I didn't lie either, Sunset finished. I guess I went back because I was wondering who I really am now. For 4 years, it was just me in that little room, on my own, me against the world and liking every moment of it. And now so much of it is slipping away. The place where I lived, my jacket. That jacket must have been important to you. Brady said you were more distraught about that than the news. Yeah, I mean, I'm an orphan, and I never knew who my parents were, so I can't get angry about that. Furthermore, while I did have a guardian, a mother figure, I ran on my own accord, and I think, no. I'm pretty sure she doesn't want anything to do with me anymore. Else she would have come for me. Sunset let out the rest of the detail. While she trusted Octavia, she didn't know how to explain the truth. Are you sure? Positive. Wouldn't be here otherwise. But that jacket was the first thing that was truly me. I know that sounds dumb, and maybe Rarity's right that I bought it for all the wrong reasons. But it was the first step in making myself who I am. But now, I'm not sure that was the best thing. Now, I don't know who I am anymore. Octavia looked worried. I think I better go get Twilight as well, Sonny, the teen said, rising from her seat. I'm already up, a familiar voice said from the door. I was making sure Spike was in bed, and I never heard you two talking. The purple-haired girl immediately sat down on the bed next to Sunset. I knew something was bothering you, but when you locked the door and were talking privately to Rarity, I figured you were just too embarrassed to mention it to us. No, it's not that. We're not offended, Sonny. She's your friend, and you've known her far longer than you have us, Twilight commented. Girls, it's so sad. Sunset's features were screwed in concentration, and she tried to search in her mind for the best way to explain what she really couldn't voice. I've just been on my own for so long that I'm sorry. I feel caught between a rock and a hard place. I adore you guys, even Spike, she said with a smile. But even after all this time, I still feel like I'm not sure I belong. It's not I don't want to, it's just that I hope you're not. No, of course not! You guys dropped everything to get to the hospital when I ended up there. That says everything right there. Not if you're still doubting yourself, Sonny, Twilight said. Sad look came over her face even just briefly. Look, I know we've said this before, but we're your family now. And maybe Tavi and I can't always understand what you're going through, but we're going to be here for you, always, no matter what. Sisters always are. Twilight, how do you even think that? I've been here for a few weeks now. Octavia added,
Yes, and you heard my earlier slip-up. It's like you belong here now. Besides, if Uncle Knight were here, I know what he'd probably say. This can be about a lifetime, and a lifetime is not meant to be wasted on sorrow. Besides, you do like my parents, right? Twilight asked. They've been nothing but wonderful to me, even when I haven't deserved it, Sunset admitted. That's because what family is, Sunny, Octavia chimed in. They're always there for you, even when it doesn't seem like it. Look at me. I'm an only child, and yet I've never had to worry about a lack of siblings. So what was that Twilight, Sunny, and Spike there for me? And besides, Twilight teased, you are your own twin after all. With a sense of surprise, Octavia's eyes narrowed in genuine annoyance. I wish you stopped mentioning that, Twilight. It's really creepy. No, it's not, Twilight defended. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I am not a science experiment, Twilight. Octavia said in a firm tone. For the first time since Sunset, no, Octavia used her cousin's first full name. I know, but I think it's really neat, especially since its biology was as fascinating in itself. Look, Mr. Spock, can we just drop it and get back to having something with her issue? Octavia said, growing frustration. Finally, Sunset had enough watching one cousin glare at another. What is she talking about? I can't believe I'm talking about this, Octavia muttered. Do you know what a chimera is? Mythological thing? Sunset's only knowledge of it was on Discord's album. I think I remember something by that name in Flame Geyser Swamp, thereabouts back in Equestria, but I'm not completely sure. No, she sighed. I meant the biological term. As Sunset shook her head, Octavia continued. It was clear as he was doing so reluctantly. Well, you know what fraternal twins are, right? At one time, I was apparently going to have a twin brother or sister. I don't know. Well, apparently he, or she, is me. What? Look on Sunset's face seemed to unintentionally copy the internet memes he had seen. Though without a mirror, she wasn't aware of that. Twilight, who was, had to prevent herself from laughing. Lest the inferior irritate Octavia. While I was forming in my mother's womb, basically the fetus, that was me, and the fetus that was my sibling merged. Kind of like the opposite of identical twins. Octavia explained, quaking slightly at her clarification. Sunset blinked. Fusion? That actually happens here? The thought of that freaked her out a little. Fusion spells were some of the worst black magic spells out there, though there were natural causes of occurring. She remembered from her lessons with Princess Celestia about Griffin mythology, and how the Griffin species were created. Lions and eagles were fighting each other in a horrific war of attrition. The sheer amount of magic caused a black glass, eventually fusing the two creatures into one being. It had ended up being the only way the war between two species ended. The remaining lions and eagles disowned their merged counterparts, leaving the new species to prefer their own path. Lockhorn had explained that the story was just mythology. Celestia did give a real-world example of a white magic fusion. The Alicorn herself, a combination of Pegasus, Unicorn, and Earth Pony essences. Sunset began, but quickly stopped, not even sure what she would say. Octavia nodded sadly. Hell, I know, it's extremely rare, rarer than your condition even. But I'm carrying 2 sets of DNA. If you don't mind me asking, how did you find out? I mean, if it's that rare, probably not something they check for often, I'm guessing, Sunset inquired. The academic in her somewhat intrigued. Same way they found out about your blood. Testing. In my case, I was 11. I had to have my appendix removed. When they did a check on my blood, they noticed that I was A negative. Well, another doctor didn't know my blood had been drawn, so he did it as well, and he came out positive. Since that can't be positive and negative blood types normally mixed together can cause hemolysis, which is a blood disease. They immediately did a second round of tests on me, which is how they found out. Wow. Sunset was the only response. The look on Octavia's face was suddenly fragile. Do me a favor. It might seem cool to others, and it sounds like you're comfortable with your unusual blood type. But to me, it's always been kind of creepy. I had nightmares about it for days afterwards. While I know Twilight doesn't mean any harm by it, I'd rather the others not to know. I'm sure they're trustworthy, but I'm just not comfortable with it. No problem. I'm very good at keeping secrets. More than I like at times, Sunset reassured her. Thanks, Sunny, Octavia said, yawning. I don't know about you, but it's been a long day for me, and I'm going to go to sleep. Went over to Sunset's dresser and pulled out a spare pair of pajamas. Mind if I borrow? You're sleeping in here? Great idea, Twilight agreed. It's always better when sisters are together, right? She added. Octavia and Sunset looked at each other. Then as they looked at Twilight, the pair reached verbal synchronicity. Twilight, do you know where that comes from? The look on Twilight's face was a little perplexed. I heard some guys mention it at the mall the other day while we were in Spencer's. What? Octavia blinked and Sunset face palmed. Sunset then said, it's the name of a series of pornos where sisters, She looked down with confusion at first, then wide-eyed disgust and a shock half a second later. Ew, you guys are, that's gross! She really doesn't get out much, does she? Sunset corrected Octavia. Well, in my defense, I could say I've gone out on at least one date. With a boy from my sister's school, the Munchinger Institute for Young Men, and only because Dad wanted to strike a business deal with the boy's father. Rubla turned out to be a garroting creep who tried to cop a field, but fortunately for me, Shiny just happened to be on patrol that night and scared Rubla to the point he pissed his pants. Octavia giggled. After that, I decided I'm going away to college, and I don't doubt Twice much the same way. Well, I did have a boyfriend not too long after I first got here, Sunset admitted. But he and I broke up. Good thing, too. The sex wasn't worth it. The other girls looked at her surprised as he said, Look, I'll admit, I regret it. It's part of why we call it quits. Well, I started having a thing for your pony counterpart, Twilight, but I won't mention that. As they waved goodbye to Nightlight's brother and sister-in-law as they drove off, Night said to Velvet, We really should do this more often, love. The pair unlocked the door, stepped into the house, and as he helped her with the coat he had. The girls are obviously old enough now to watch Spike, and we're not getting any younger. Velvet nodded in agreement. Yes, plus it's great spending time with Evening and Ballad. She missed it. With them always on the road, we don't get to see them as much. I know Ballad has privately admitted to me that Tavi's over here so often. She fears I'm more her daughter's mother than she is. Yeah, Evening tells me more than once that's why they didn't try for a second kid, he told her. Well, she said, yawning slightly. I'm going to check on the kids and then head to bed. Long day tomorrow, including the parent-teacher conference. I'll be meeting with Tia, Lulu, and a few other teachers regarding Sunset. Nothing bad, I hope, Nightlight asked as he removed his own coat. No, but I'll suspect he'll bring up her recent injury. Hopefully, Tia will have more information, Velvet guessed. As both adults ascended the stairs, the first thing she checked was her son's room. Spike was out like a light, though the TV in his room was still on. The telltale sign he's been playing video games past his bedtime. Again. I'll have a talk to him about that tomorrow and come up with appropriate punishment. Next was Twilight and Octavia's room. The beds were made and unused. It was probably meant that, sure enough, heading into Sunset's room, the trio was asleep together again. As a maternal smile came onto Velvet's face, she knew that having the troubled teen come live with them had been the right move. Tia had said in an email conversation that since their new arrangement had come about, Sunset was paying more attention to class. Her grades were no longer borderline abysmal, and she wasn't given the faculty conniption fits. Last was confirmed by Lulu, who had seen a marked improvement in Sunset's behavior, given she was barely controlled Hellion at that point. But now she has us, Velvet thought. Now she doesn't need to face the world alone anymore. I know what you're thinking, Nightlight said from behind her, and yeah, I agree. This was the right thing. I'm glad you think so, she said, not taking her eyes off her girls. Here I am, Assistant Director of Equestria County's Department of Social Services. I've never been a foster parent myself. Somewhat hypocritical, given that I've told countless foster parents over the years what to do. And by Sunset's reputation, she was probably the worst possible choice. She has only come around in the last week or so. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm glad she turned out to be wrong. So am I, love. She sighed as he put his arms around her, while he watched the girls dozing gently. So am I. The following morning, Sunset woke up alone. It didn't surprise her. With parent-teacher conferences going on at school today, the students had a day off. But that was at her school. So Octavia and Twilight had to head in. As she got up, she heard a commotion downstairs and wondered who it could be. She thought she was the only one home. Taking a shower, she went downstairs to dig something out of the fridge, then maybe get caught up on her homework.
So, I see you finally decided to join the world of living.
She saw Nightlight sitting there, nursing a cup of coffee.
Can't say I blame you. You're still recovering from your injury, and that can take a lot out of a person.
He looked at her and said,
There's some hot pockets in the freezer if you're hungry. Not the greatest thing in the world for breakfast, but I suppose it could be worse.
I'm surprised you're here, she told him.
So am I, he agreed. Apparently they moved up the installations to new equipment in the building on the campus where I teach. He explained, so classes got canceled for the rest of the week. Would have been nice if he told me that yesterday.
Sunset threw a pair of pastries pastries into the microwave.
He looked at her and said, So, I understand your jacket was stolen and destroyed by whoever hurt you?
Sunset nodded. Yeah. Caused a commotion the next day at school when whoever took it made a display of the whole thing.
Nat took another drink of his coffee and frowned. I know she hasn't mentioned it, but Velvet and I really aren't happy about you heading to the old warehouse, by the way. You could have been injured far worse than you were. That part of town isn't all that safe during the best of hours. You went there during the weekend when there was no one around.
She began, intending to tell him she spent 4 years there relatively unmolested. So what was there to worry about? As soon as he looked down and saw the disappointment in his eyes, and seeing that flickered something within her. There was an unknown factor about his pain gaze that hurt her inside. She couldn't really explain why. She faced plenty of teachers before, many of them male authority figures. She really gave a flying fuck about what they thought. But regardless, the letdown of his eyes on the gentle man sitting on the table made her feel guilty about everything that had occurred in the past couple of days. I'm sorry, she told him, meaning it. She didn't know what else to say, so she poured herself a glass of orange juice. It would be less awkward than the silence that was sinking in.
I know, he told her. Velvet told me everything, and I certainly can understand how you feel, Sunset. I've been there myself sometimes. But it's already mid-November, and it should be snowing soon. We're going to have to get you a replacement jacket.
Sunset trembled, both of his words about the weather and the behest of her memories. Her first month here had been in January, and the snow had fallen hard. She arrived completely in the nude. She never did understand how the princess arrived with clothing when she came over, and had watched others from a distance, then focused enough to make raw approximations of clothing. She later found the money with it, and brought a jacket that had been mismarked at the mall. She cherished it, but like so many memories of her earlier years on Earth, it was just now memories. Meanwhile, Nightlight continued to look at her as she ate the hot pocket and praised her. As he was pondering it, finally, getting up from his chair, he said,
Come on, I got something to show you.
Okay. He went over to the closet, and Nightlight wasted no time digging around the closet.
Here we are.
He brought out the leather jacket, military style. Not just military style, but according to the tags on the inside, the insignia of flight paths, an actual military fighter pilot's jacket, complete with a patch that read, Eternal Breeze, Pegasus, LCDR USN.
That used to belong to my brother, Nocturnal Breeze. Unlike my younger brother, Evening and I, Nocti was a military man. He was a fighter pilot for the Navy. He loved flying those fighter jets. He flew the F-18, if I recall correctly.
Was? There was something about the word that hung on the older man's lips.
Knight nodded. We lost him during the Gulf War back in the 90s. He was a damn good pilot, we were told. One of the best. He was probably going to be in the Blue Angels someday. But something went wrong on his aircraft and went down without him being able to inject. The Navy confirmed that he hadn't been shot down. It was a mechanical malfunction that did him in. He's buried in Arlington, with honors. But both Evening and I would rather have him back, as would our parents.
The man was silent for a moment, the words having brought back memories not long borrowed to the forefront. I'm sorry, Sunset said once again. One of the things she had to catch up to speed on was the number of conflicts the various groups of humanity had with others of their own kind. At first, Sunset thought that, given her relatively aggressive nature, not common for ponies, she fit right in with her then newly adopted species. But as of recent, she'd begun to wonder if Princess Celestia had sent the mirror to this world in order to exile ponies like her, unrepentant miscreants that might do some enormous damage to Equestria. And here on Earth, she would be seen as nothing more than small fry, or would be dealt with by the authorities here.
Not your fault. You weren't even born then. Knight assured her, as he set aside his recollections, unaware of Sunset's own thoughts. Anyway, one of these things he had was a few of those jackets. I was told the Navy only gives out a couple of these things as standard issue to their pilots. But he loved the damn thing so much, he brought several more for reasons I'll never know. My dad has one, as does Evening and myself. And now, he said softly, "This one's yours." Sunset paused for a second, stunned, but soon found her voice, somewhat. I can't. It's not. She was flustered. This was more than just buying her clothing or anything of the sort. This was a family heirloom. While she had nothing of the sort on her own, she could understand the concept, so I was certainly reluctantly to take what had to be a valued treasure from the family. But what about Shiny or Spike? The girls? Knight shook his head. As much as I would love to give this to Shiny, he's a little too broad on his shoulders for it to fit him. Besides, Shiny already has all his uncle's medals on display. He felt that would be enough to remember Nocti by. Spike's got one as well. Someday he'll be old enough to fit into his. As for Twilight and Tavi, neither of them wanted, and they have their own keepsakes from their uncle. Besides, you need a comforter winter months. I understand it's gonna be a bad one this year. I think my brother would do the same thing if he were here. She took the jacket as though it were a secret item, gently slipping it on somehow. It felt more right wearing this than the jacket she just lost. I'll treasure this always, she told him, meaning every word of it, and starting to become overwhelmed by the mixture of feelings running through her. I know. Besides, you asked me, you look good in it. Better than that old jacket. Just do me a favor, don't get stabbed again and have this one stolen as well. She was still overcome by the moment. I don't know, She started to tear up again. Knight did the only thing he felt he could do. Take the girl into an embrace, holding her as she stood there, shuddering from the tears. I don't deserve any of this, she told him. I don't deserve to have any of you. It's not about deserving or not deserving, he told her. It's not even really about what you want, Sunset. It's what you need. Everyone needs someone in the end. The only ones that don't are either lying to themselves or worse. No one in the family sees you like that. You went back there because you were wondering what happened to your home. Well, here it is. This is it. This is your home now.
Hey, Spitfire! Rainbow specifically showed up to soccer practice an hour early, because the track team would still be working out this afternoon. She usually didn't socialize in the same circle as the junior, and with the vastly different schedule the two girls kept, this would be one of the only chances he had to put a stop to it. Hey, cuz! Spitfire shouted as she walked towards her cousin, wiping the sweat off her brow with a towel before hanging around her neck. Spitfire was the captain for the girls' varsity track team, and the honor was well earned. The junior held the current state record for the 200-meter dash, and almost broke the 400-meter dash. Track scouts for the U.S. Olympic team were already watching her. Rainbow couldn't help but feel pride in her cousin's accomplishments. She was, all in all, almost as awesome as Rainbow herself. What brings you down here? Looking for your favorite pain in the ass, Rainbow growled. That else he's likely the ones behind rumors about my old school friends. Yeah, her about that, Spitfire said, running a hand through her shaggy yellow-orange hair. Those girls are good folks. You hate to see that shit. Anyway, the bitch is in the locker room. She blew a fuse because the rest of the relay team isn't as fast as she is, even though she's a fucking slowpoke herself. Thanks. Rainbow turned his right to the girl's locker room, where she felt Spitfire's hand on her shoulder. Just be careful, the other girl advised. She's faster than you, and I bet she knows how to fight, and call me crazy, Rainbow, but I don't want you to get hurt. That's sweet, Spitz. You almost managed to sound like Fluttershy for there for a moment. Almost, but not quite, she teased. Rainbow, if I had to explain to Scoots why you have a black eye. Yeah, I know. I'll be careful. Ball and weave and all that shit, she said as he walked off towards the locker room. Rainbow walked to the locker room. She could hear Lightning's voice as he hit up another girl. So trust me. I'll make you sing like an opera star. Sick bitch! A figure ran down towards the lockers, almost bowling over Rainbow. The prism-haired athlete noted it was another one of the soccer teammates, Rose Luck, and she looked very agitated. Oh, hey, Rose, you okay? Rainbow asked. God, Rainbow, I'm just glad to see a friendly face. Rosalie pointed an angry finger in the direction she ran. I was getting dressed for practice, and that cunt's been watching me the whole time! Yeah, what can I say? You're hot, nubile. I bet you're great in bed, Lightning Dust says. He rounded the nearest stand of lockers. Oh, and look, it's Rainbow Dash. Whether it's true what they say about you, too. Reaching her pocket, she pulled out a key. You know, my house has a hot tub, and my parents are out of town for a week. Let's say I introduce you two to the world of womanhood. Unless someone's already beat me to it. No. But you and I are going to have a nice little chat about some of the bullshit you've been spreading a couple of friends of mine. Names Cloud Chaser or Flutter ring a bell? The leering look of thought on Lightning's face could have been comical, had it not been for the thoughts Rainbow knew was running through the older girl's mind. Yeah, she said suddenly. Pair of twins. Kinda boring, really. They were more interested in each other than me. Oh, they took care of my needs well enough. But I think they were really just there for the chance to... Lightning's words were cut off by Rainbow smashing a fist against the locker. I know you're lying, you fucking skink! Just like I know you're lying about what happened at the regionals. I know they blasted your ass, and that you're slow as shit. Face it, you're just a jealous, unpopular carpet licker that's not only a sore loser, but has no class either. Small wonder you can't get a guy of your own, or a girl. Lightning's eyes narrowed. I wish you saved before you guys shoved that fist of yours straight up your own butt. Back up your words, bitch! Rainbow brought her fist up. This is her father's hard to do as he ever needed to protect herself. While he'd been in a few scraps before, as he remembered Spitfire's words. I suspect she may know how to fight, Rainbow. Rainbow? Rosalie said, at this afraid of the sudden escalation. Rose, get out of here, Rainbow said, not taking her eyes off the Lightning. Let me handle this. Be careful. With that, the other girl raced down the locker room. I almost had her, Lightning said. You owe me for losing out on that fine piece of ass, Des. Sorry, Rose is way too classy for you, Rainbow taunted. But on the bright side, I think her boyfriend might agree with you on her posterior. Rainbow would have said more, nothing for Lightning's quick strike. Well, Rainbow had already been anticipating a Desibe attack, so he had counted on the speed of her assailant. Rainbow barely managed to dodge the fist thrown at her. Shit, she's fast! Rainbow thought as Lightning retracted the arm. Fortunately, well, I'm not exactly a track star. I'm no slouch in the speed department either. She thought, jabbing forward with her right fist. Unfortunately for Rainbow, her fist sailed through the area where Lightning had been just a few seconds earlier, connected with nothing, leaving her open, for Lightning to score a direct blow against Rainbow's torso, knocking it from her. Rainbow collapsed to the ground, gasping. She hadn't been hit like that before. Aw, what, Desi? You're not so fucking tough after all, Lightning taunted, pulling the fallen teen up by his shirt. I mean, after all, you clearly wanted me to show you how I did your friends, because you wanted some of that action too. Fuck you, Rainbow snarled. Casey forgot, I have a boyfriend. As if anyone's gonna believe the walking gay pride flag. Everything you do screams butts, girly, and I wonder, were you with him? Do you imagine him as a... Or are you the one wearing the strap? Lightning never finished her word, as Rainbow took a moment to take advantage of Lightning's vulnerability, punching her in the stomach. While it was enough to get Lightning to release her, it didn't last long. Rainbow immediately took advantage of the situation, throwing another punch, aiming right at Lightning's face. He connected, rocking the girl's head back. As he pulled back, Lightning immediately grabbed Rainbow and slammed her back against the lockers, kneeing her in the crotch. While it wouldn't disable her on the same level as a guy, it certainly did hurt. It gave Lightning enough time to grab Rainbow again and slam her face first against another set of lockers. Rainbow spat out a glob of blood that welled up in her bitter tongue. She was definitely going to feel that tomorrow. More immediately, she was going to feel the blows he took to the side as Lightning punched her in the solar plexus, making her gasp for air. Fucking skank! Lightning said, wiping a rivulet of blood from her lips. What? Think I'm some pretty little princess like one of your buddies? No. I've been through enough dances, Sunshine, and like you, I know how to handle myself. Oh, hey, there you are! A new voice rang out, and both girls turned to see Gilda standing there, leaning against the locker. Well, Lightning, I came by to pick you up. Got tickets to the Floating Trash Cans concert at the Broken Down Club at 7:30. I guess you're too busy in the foreplay. Rainbow saw Gilda and admitted the two connected eyes. It did not look good. They had been friends once, back when they both lived in Cloudsdale on the same block. But something happened between them. Rainbow didn't remember much, but she recalled Gilda didn't ever want to speak to her again. And she said at the time, Rainbow's mother assured her she was just mad, and Gilda would come around in a week or two. Rainbow later found her friend and moved to Camelot weeks later. They never made up as a result, and by the time both girls found themselves at Camelot High, they were very different people from the friendly children they had once been, and they were now definitely on different sides of the moral spectrum.
Well. It is my old buddy Rainbow Dash. Well, hey, good to see ya. Still fucking over your old friends? Do you just save that for people you don't want to apologize to? Gilda, I don't even remember.
She was suddenly silent as Gilda picked her up and slammed her face first against the wall.
Well, yeah, too bad for you. I do. My ass got beat that day thanks to you, you fucking cunt. My dad teared my ass with an inch of my life just because you broke that flower face and I had to cover for you.
Rainbow's mind swam, trying to recall what had happened almost a decade ago. Had Gilda really been abused by her father for that? She really broken something as simple as a flower face? Did her mother not want her to go over because Gilda was being an angry child? Or was it because Rainbow's mother, Firefly, was concerned about her daughter's safety? She had to ask her mother when she got the chance. Probably after she got out of the hospital, which Rainbow figured she was going to be in soon at this rate.
You know, Rainbow,
Lightning says, Gilda held her close.
We could make all this go away, but you're going to own me. I know what you're going to say, and my answer's the same. Fuck you!
Rainbow snarled.
You know, as much as I'm tempted to take you up on that, Lightning said, I suspect you're a lousy lay, but, she said, you are going to give me a little something for my time, right?
Looking at Gilda, she said,
You got your knife? Yeah, back pocket, she said. What are you planning? Well, I'm thinking I got my phone on me, and I'm thinking that Dassy here doesn't need her shirt.
She looked back at Rainbow.
I'm betting you're an A-cup, but let's find out for sure, okay? You wouldn't dare,
snarled, though she wondered the girls were crazy enough.
Hey, you attacked me, and I have a witness, she said, gesturing to Gilda. So no idea why you decided to go back outside topless. But hey, I'm sure you can live with your embarrassment.
Taking Gilda's knife, she opened a highly illegal switchblade.
New knife? Yeah, Gilda muttered. Lost the old one after we got into that fracas with bacon-headed bitch on Sunday.
Rainbow's eyes widened.
You're the ones that stabbed...
She never finished her words as Gilda threw a vicious punch right in Rainbow's face, hard enough to bruise, and no doubt leave a black eye she had for a few days.
Don't even think about telling anyone, Dash, she warned, or you're next.
So bad for you, that ain't happening, an angry voice said, and the three girls had just enough time to react before Gilda suddenly took 3 blows to the stomach, followed by a chest punch. As Rainbow crumpled to the ground, she had enough time to see a familiar blur of blonde hair move in front of her. "Wanna dance, girls?"
I'm more than willing,
the voice snarled.
AJ?
Rainbow asked, wondering 2 things. Where the hell does he come from, and how the fuck's he move so fast? She would have asked some more, but she carefully felt careful arms helping her up. It had enough sense of mind to turn to see Rosalick helping her up.
She was out walking her dog with her sister,
Rosalick said.
I know she's your friend, so I...
Bad move for you, you goddamn country hick!
Gilda snarled as she recovered, freaking her fist to fight.
Now I'm going to have to knock the freckles off your dinky little face.
You can try, Applejack said, easing into a bouncing, ribbon stick that Rainbow thought was odd. It's like some stuff she's seen in movies, but where the hell did Applejack learn karate? This came a second later as Gilda rushed her, only to be stopped by a single, broided hook kick straight across the face. Gilda took the blow completely as it slammed her right into the lockers, hard enough to knock her out in one blow, but cracked the heavy plastic of the locker door. Sliding back in the fighting stance, she looked at Lightning. Yes, your training was out of shit, but you learned from watching way too many of them chop the films.
Not afraid of you.
Lightning snarled as he attacked Applejack. This is the time as I need to start learning then, Applejack says. He moved deftly, letting Lightning's momentum carry past her to Farm Growl. You know, I was starting to think that maybe this was the inspiration for how Applejack was such a badass back at Fall of Starfleet. With speed Rainbow hadn't expected out of her friend, she grabbed Lightning, slammed her to the floor, grabbed her arm, and placed her down on the back of Lightning's neck. Ever wonder what a neck brace feels like? Applejack taunted. That's enough! The girls all turned to see the schoolboy's PE teacher, football coach, bulk biceps, standing there looking at him angry. Usually I don't consider going to the girls' locker room, the muscular teacher said, looking at the 5 girls. But when I hear screaming outside, that tends to catch my attention.
Oh, thank goodness you're here, Coach, Lightning began.
Where? Shut it, Miss Dust, he said. I don't think I heard enough, but I didn't hear all of it. Thankfully, I wasn't alone. Vice Principal? To the quintet's surprise, Vice Principal Luna moved from her spot, just outside their view. I'm glad that Poet's biceps asked me to retrieve some documents from the female PE teacher's office for him, she said, as I wasn't expecting to hear a confession, much less watch a fight between a few of my students.
Fuck,
Gilda groaned, nursing the bruise she was feeling, trying to recover from the hard hit she had taken.
That bitch Applejack kicks like a fucking horse,
she thought to herself. She still had it. She didn't notice the vice principal walking up to her. Luna strode over and took the knife on the floor by Gilda's feet. Let's see. Weapons on compass, which is against the rules. This is a switchblade, as which I recall is illegal in this state. Miss Griffin. Daisy had nothing to say. She knew when she was caught. But when Luna said, and I thought I heard this is a replacement for the one you used on Miss Summer a few days ago. Her eyes turned to pinpricks of fear. As Rainbow was able to get to her feet, she looked at her friend.
AJ, that was awesome!
Seriously, where the hell did you learn that?
Well, you know our next door neighbors, the Pagodas? Well, Mr. Pagoda runs a Taekwondo dojo, and...
Can we not talk about Chinese food right now, AJ? Feeling kinda crazy.
Applejack rolled her eyes. Taekwondo is a Korean martial art, Rainbow. She drawled.
Oh, a pause. I knew that.
Right. Anyway, because none of Mr. Pagoda's kids were interested in learning the art, he offered to teach us. So me, Mac, and Bloomy all took him up on it. Not anywhere near black belt yet, but I'm working on it, she said with pride. That's almost saying, Luna said, taking charge of the situation again. I am extremely disappointed in you girls for doing all this. And I'm horrified of knowing what you've done, Miss Dust. And Miss Griffin. But Lee, save it! Luna said with a tone that took no opposition. I think you all have some disciplinary measures awaiting you in the future.
My. That does look quite fitting on you. Far better than your old one.
Betty said with approval as the girls met Sugar Cube Corner 2 days later. It was Sunset's first day at the house since her recovery. While the Cakes insisted he didn't have to come in for the Saturday morning rush since he was still recuperating. Sunset wanted to get out of the house and start adjusting to normal life once more. Besides, Saturday mornings tended to be slow as most people liked sleeping in, so it wouldn't be that bad for a start. It was a surprise that turned out to be a busy morning at the cafe. Nearly because most of the girls had went in for breakfast, a TV and Twilight included. Thanks, Rarity, Sunset said, blushing as she took off her jacket, sitting on the coat rack. Outside, a blustery November wind blew, making her very glad she received the gift. The wind was stiff enough that even as she had been in her native form, she might have needed a cloak or a weather shawl for protection from the elements. The jacket was definitely earning its keep and safeguarding her from Mother Nature, and all she had to do was, in her opinion, continue to make herself worthy of his being its owner. Seated next to Fluttershy, Angel made a complex number of hand motions as he told her sister something. Fluttershy brought him along as their mother was working that day, and the teen wanted to spoil her brother. As the platinum-haired boy finished, Fluttershy said,
Angel said he now wants one as well.
Well, I got lucky, Sunset told Fluttershy. Otherwise, I guess he'll have to join the military. Fluttershy signed back to reply, and the boy frowned. Though Sunset couldn't read sign language, Angel's sharp hand movements left little doubt his reply was,
He said, that sucks. Well, he didn't exactly say that, but let's just say Mom's going to scold him if he ever repeats what he told me.
She replied, giving her brother a reproachful look. I wonder, with certain developments later on in the seasons, does this mean Fluttershy actually has 2 little brothers?
Wow, I didn't even know there was profanity in sign language letters, Octavia said. People can be very creative when it comes to the evolution of language, Joy commented. I wouldn't be surprised if sign language has a huge amount of profanity. Riley, would you please not give him ideas? Fluttershy asked, blushing. Well, I thought he couldn't hear what we... He can read lips, the chiffon hair replied. Very well, too. Oh. Well, let's change the subject. Sonny's back to normal now. I propose we all go to the movies today after work, Pinky said. Any idea what she go see? Nothing violent, Fluttershy said softly. Try second that. Well, it should be your choice, Sonny, Octavia suggested. Well, there's a few things I'd like to go see, she admitted. Though I wish AJ and Rainbow could join us. Pinky's usual cheerful demeanor suddenly dropped to replying with, I don't think that's going to happen, Sonny. As one of the girls sighed. Seated in an empty classroom in Candlelight High, 3 girls looked completely bored out of their skulls. I can't believe this is happening to me, Rosalind groaned, putting her head on her desk. I guess no good deed really does go unpunished. She looked at her fellow teen students. What did Ollie do to earn the Breakfast Club?
Hey, Rose, it could be worse,
Rainbow said. At the moment, she looked like a mile of bad road, while a black eye, split lip, and a sizable bruise on her right cheek. That was only visible injuries.
Rainbow, I've got Breakfast Club today. You and AJ have it for this week. And plus, we have to write Principal Celestia a 3,000-word essay on how to be a model citizen. That's not enough. Mrs. Luna suspended us from the soccer team for the rest of the month.
AJ chuckled. Sucks, Rosie. Not like the end of the world. Sure, we're all here in Breakfast Club, but you're here just 1 week. Rainbow and I are here for only 2 because of prior good behavior. Besides, I'm right here with this $1 million Dustin Griffin shoes.
Yeah, no kidding,
Rainbow added.
Remember, because of her antics, Lightning's been suspended from school for 2 weeks and kicked off the track team for good. And as for Gilda,
she said, her voice suddenly taking a slight tone.
She's been expelled. She's going to have to finish the rest of the school year at the Banks.
Rosalind shuddered at thought. The Equestrian County Alternative School for At-Risk Students down in the suburb of Sunnytown was nicknamed the Blanks, both for its mostly featureless building and the fact that the school had no sports or after-school program. Combined with the school's brutalist architecture dating from the late 1970s, and the fact that Sunnytown was a regional slum, the Blanks had acquired a kind of reputation, the one usually afforded for foreboding locations in horror films.
And that weren't enough, both Lightning and Gilda are going to face charges for hunting Sunset, Applejack guide.
Though, I'm wondering why you're so concerned about Gilda, Rainbow.
We were good friends when we were younger. And frankly, I just don't know what went wrong, Rainbow admitted. She was a good person once. Maybe, like Sunset, she could be one again someday.
The trio fell silent for a few, working on their essays. Overall, I was like salt again. Look, AJ, I'm sorry I got you involved in this. And Rainbow, I really didn't thank you for helping me out that day. As it is, after this, I'm grounded for a week. But when things are settled, nonsense on me. First chance we get, okay?
Yeah, Rainbow laughed. Let you know I'm no longer grounded. Mom and Dad basically grounded my ass for 2 weeks for this. Plus, I gotta do mine and my sister chores.
Applejack laughed uncontrollably. I got 3 weeks of grounded, plus doing mine, my ex and Blooming Shores. Plus got a lecture from my somebody, and when I'm done with my grounding, then I'm gonna have to clean the dojo. The principal Celestia said talking to my parents and explained if it hadn't been for that fight, no point would have found out who hurt Sunset.
Yeah, same here, Rainbow nodded. Yeah, the principal said he called my parents Monday.
Rosalind chimed in.
Still, was it really worth all this?
Rainbow and Applejack looked at each other. Rainbow had been injured in that fight, while Applejack had gone unscathed. Both had received punishment for their actions during it. But Rainbow had exposed Lightning's lies in the process, protected her old friends. Plus, she saved Roselug from an awkward situation. And as for Applejack, she rescued her old friend from serious danger. And as Vice Principal Luna had to admit, had it not been for either of them getting involved in the fight, Lightning and Gilda would have gotten away scot-free regarding their attack on Sunset. For them, protecting a friend was always paramount. Both girls leaned back in their chairs, smug smiles sliding from ear to ear.
Yep!
both said at the same time. Dang straight.